Just to remind.
I appreciate that, Dan. Good call. Good catch. Well, good. It looks like we have a great group of folks on tonight from all over the country. I'd just be curious as we get going here. If you guys notice, if you move your cursor down to the bottom of the screen, you'll see a different couple of options pop up, and you'll see things like chat, a couple other different options down there. When you see chat, if you click on that, it'll give the option to actually put a comment into the Zoom off to the right of your screen. And I would just love to hear from everybody where city and state that you are currently from right now. I'm just curious to kind of take a poll just to see who do we have and from where are you from. Love to see that. And just so you know, I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, in case you didn't know that yet. Bunch coming in Overland Park, Kansas, Kansas City, Lynn, Mass, Boston, Arizona, and Washington. Lake St. Louis, Boston, Illinois. Awesome. We got quite a variety. So if we got from Washington to Massachusetts, Arizona, welcome, Laquetta. Very cool. So we got a good, as you can tell, we've got a good audience just from all over the country, different time zones, different walks of life, just all kinds of different things going on. So what I'm, just brief introduction about myself. My name is Chris Hiebert. I'm from Kansas City, Missouri. I've been a licensed agent in Missouri and Kansas for going on 9 years now. Tonight, I've been asked by a number of my friends to share with you what we're up to with this company called EXP Realty. Seems like there's a lot of questions, there's some interest, and just frankly, just a lot of buzz going on in the industry about EXP right now. And I think tonight our goal is just, if anything, just kind of set the stage straight and just help everyone be clear on what we're up to with this company, because there's a lot of different things going on. It kind of reminds me of the time when you ever been in that big room of people and somebody comes in and has an awesome story to share with somebody. So they tell them that story, and a couple hours later, that story has filtered like through 30 people. And by the time you talk to the 30th person, all of a sudden that story just completely got blown out of proportion, or it's completely disconfigured and it's missing a foot and a leg. And all of a sudden they're in pure belief that that story is exactly how it went. So it's kind of fun to see how some stories can evolve and kind of take a whole different dynamic over time. But my goal tonight is to share with you what exactly is happening with EXP, how it's affecting the industry in real estate, from a real estate agent perspective, from a real estate investor perspective, and honestly, anybody interested to make money in real estate, this is a very unique option to at least learn about, consider, and possibly even make it a part of your business plan. But I can tell you right out of the gate, before I get into anything, this model is not for everybody, and I'm not here to make any promises that it is. It's definitely more for an entrepreneurial, dual income, multiple income type of individual that wants to make more than just one active income. So that's one of the things I like about this model. You'll start to see some things as we get going here for tonight. I'm going to share my screen and just cover a few slides that will help me. I'm very visual, so if I don't have slides, then I'll start talking with my hands in an excessive way. So I'm very visual in that way. So I like to cover some different things. So just briefly about myself, let me see, I'm going to try to expand this. Everybody see my screen okay? Introduction to EXP Realty. All right, awesome, perfect. All right, let's see here. Okay, so as we get going in this, just a brief background about myself. So Deanna Hiebert is my wife. We're partners in real estate together. She's been a nurse for 20 years in labor and delivery. Before I got into real estate in 2012, I was in the mutual fund industry, working with stocks, mutual funds, investment advisors, all kinds of people from all walks of life when it came to investing, but primarily in the stock world. So I had about a 15-year background in that. My wife was 20 years in nursing, so very diverse backgrounds, but we both had a common goal or interest in real estate. And so in 2012, I got started learning how to invest in real estate. I got to be a part of an experience of downsizing, if anyone's ever heard that term or experienced that in corporate America. Got to go through some changes being in the top of my pay scale and where I worked. And it's one of those things that was a really nice blessing in disguise for me, because it forced me to get out of my comfort zone. I had a really nice cubicle with a really cool headset that I was chained to. And so I got to get out and experience something different. And I'm really glad that happened, because I heard about how to invest in real estate on a sports talk radio ad, and it was talking about learn how to invest in real estate, not spend any of your own money to do it, and make money. Those were interesting phrases to hear on that ad. And so I went ahead and signed up to go to a class, which led to me and my dad and my brother joining a training company called Fortune Builders. They're the guys on that hit show on A&E, Flip This House. They had done a tremendous job of investing in real estate, and then started a training coaching program for others to kind of essentially follow in their footsteps and learn from their lessons learned. Very expensive, but it was definitely, for us personally, it was worth the money, because we've learned how to build a different career from that. And so that set off a whole dynamic of things for me to learn about other things that you can do in real estate. So everybody has different points of entry and how they get into real estate. Mine was through the investor channel. Other people might be brand new to real estate and just getting a real estate license. Maybe you've been licensed for 30 years and haven't invested in real estate, but there's a lot of interesting overlap that takes place. So just a little background about myself: I transferred out of the mutual fund world in 2011, started our company Next Step Homes in 2012, doing fix and flips, rental properties. We've been doing new construction this last couple of years. So a pretty diverse background when it comes to how to invest in real estate. So during that time, I also became a coach after 3 years of learning how to do it, having good success with it. They invited me to become a coach with Fortune Builders back in 2015. So I coached over 1,000 investor students in the last 5 years. Great experience doing that, loved it. Huge passion for training and giving back what I learned. So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing tonight what I'm doing, because I want to be able to train and give back what I've learned so far to see if any of this resonates with you. And if it does, I'm happy to have further conversations. If not, again, it's just a level set on what's happening in the real estate industry with regards to EXP Realty. So I became a coach. Also, since I've been with EXP now for 3 years, when I got my license back in 2012, I initially joined Keller Williams. I was with them for 5 years, had an awesome experience there, loved it, tons of friends, great training, all around good experience. And then I kept hearing about this company called EXP. And 2016 was the first time I heard about it. Honestly, I blew it off. I was drinking the Kool-Aid pretty strong where I was at Keller. Didn't think there could be anything better, so why look? About 6 months later, I went to a real estate mastermind with some very interesting investors from around the entire country. Had some great success in large multifamily and all kinds of big development and whatnot. It was exciting to learn from them, but I met a couple that was also from the Midwest, not too far from where I was at. And they had some really good success with EXP, and it really got my attention. But at the time, I really wasn't interested in changing. I was really heads down focused on my investment company, and all around just wasn't interested in making a change. And so about 6 months after that, I heard from a good friend of mine I had started investing in real estate with, who actually went through some training with when I initially joined Fortune Builders. Great relationship with him, a lot of trust and rapport. He called me and said, "Hey, I just switched to this company called EXP Realty. I think you should take a look at it because I think it really aligns with your goals in real estate." And I'm like, I kind of started chuckling because I'm like, it's the third time in a year I've heard about this, and I've never actually taken a real look at it. And so I said, "All right, Jim, I'll be glad to take a look at it. What's all this buzz about?" Because I've been blowing it off for a year. And so he sat down, showed me how it worked at a quick high level. Then he introduced me to a gentleman by the name of Rob Flick, who I can honestly tell you, he's the reason why I came to EXP after what I learned from him, because it was a game changer in what I learned about in real estate. So that's just a brief background about me, how I got here. Since I've been with EXP the last 3 years, when I switched in 2017, I also quickly became a certified mentor, training other agents how to build their real estate business. So again, training, education, coaching, those are all passionate things that I love to really follow and help other people with. So let's see, so moving on here. But as I pull up this next slide, I have to share my whole reason why what I'm doing, where I'm focused at, what I'm growing. It's because of this page right here. It's not just to try to be some sort of real estate mogul and just build a whole significant portfolio. It's because I've learned through real estate that I can actually will and pass on to my family the different passive income streams that I'm making from my investment company, but I'm also making from EXP. And so it's beyond just active income with real estate sales. So I'm able to pass on everything I'm creating to them and actually leave one heck of a legacy for them. So when you see this is my entire reason why what I do in real estate. Just a couple things we'll cover as we get through this model: who we are, the model, how everything works, how it fits with all those different solutions we have, and then the process of what it means to become a part of this if there's further interest. the guy that started it all, I kind of need to go through and cover his background. He's a significant leader in the real estate industry. There's a lot of cool things that he did, but before he actually founded and started EXP, he actually had a significant tech background, focused in different technologies. He was an investment broker, and so he did a lot of research into technology. He was also a executive with AOL, very focused in what he was doing with technology. Great success. He started companies like eshippers.com, internet cafes back in, this is going back to the late 80s, early 90s time frame when the internet was just really starting to kind of take off a little. Interesting how much technology background he had, but he always had a passion for real estate. And he never could quite find the right time to make an entrance into real estate until we had the issue with the dot-com bubble back in 2000, 2001. And so he found, there was a unique time to make if there was ever a time he was going to do it, he figured this was the time to cut the cord and make the change. And so in 2002, he left the technology space, went and got his real estate license, and initially started with Prudential. Didn't have a great experience there so much, and so he quickly switched to a different brokerage called Keller Williams. And at Keller, it was interesting. He went through a lot of their sales training, different options on how to learn how to grow a business as a brand new agent, and they're started teaching him along the lines of cold calling with for sale by owners, expireds, door knocking neighborhoods, a lot of good grassroots type guerrilla marketing just to get started and get on your feet. Nothing wrong with any of those strategies at all. For him, he's such a high level thinker. Glenn really had to look back and say, you know what, I feel like I can do those types of strategies they're sharing. I feel like there's got to be a better way to generate business. And so he went back to his technology roots and figured out how to start connecting with people on the internet. Realized, this is over 18 years ago, started having connections and conversations with people through online connections. So he started doing online lead generation before people really even knew at that time what online lead generation was. He was pretty much a pioneer in that example. And so over 4 short years, he built a $60 million a year production business. Very awesome, awesome production, phenomenal, set a lot of records. In fact, back in those days, he was a top 50 producer at Keller across the country, and just made a lot of friends in real estate. And so Gary Keller asked him at that time, hey, would you join my tech mastermind? I'd love to share with the rest of my company how you developed such a significant business in a short time. And around that time frame, when Glenn was being asked to check out the tech group and see what he could do to add value, he noticed there were some things happening in the industry. That time frame was around 2008. Does anybody remember real estate back in 2008? Any thoughts? Show of hands. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Not so exciting, right? A lot of the mortgage crisis meltdown. That was a pretty significant challenge. And so Glenn, they noticed that a lot of different brokerages during that time were struggling. Sales basically came to a halt. So if you don't have sales going on, how are you going to pay the bills? And so he noticed that a lot of the owners or franchise owners or even independent owners were struggling to keep their lights on because of the amount of volume that came to a halt from the meltdown. And so Glenn said, you know what? He's noticing people turning in keys and foreclosing and just shutting down franchises all over the place, all over the country. And so he went to Gary and said, hey, you know what? The technology exists. We could minimize the cost on overhead for all the brick and mortar overhead and include more of a cloud-based office concept. And Gary said, it's an interesting idea. The problem is my model's franchise driven, and I'm not able to essentially move all of my franchise owners out of a brick and mortar franchise scenario because they all have large mortgages, large leases, long-term commitments, personally guaranteed on all those loans. And so I can't just unwind that and switch concepts. I can't do it. And so Glenn said, you know what, I get it, but I'm going to go ahead and go do it myself. And so in 2008, 2009, Glenn left Keller Williams, went and hosted his own mastermind, brought together a lot of his friends from the technology space back in the day, and then also made a ton of friends in real estate, brought the 2 organizations of people together, and they did a mastermind. Out of that meeting came EXP Realty. That's how we got our start. And essentially their entire goal was to look at other brokerages, see what they liked, what they didn't like, and create something completely different that nobody's doing yet. And so this was a company that was started by real estate agents, built for real estate agents. And so we're gonna get into a little bit more detail here in just a second about what that looks like. So that's just a little background about Glenn. Now, in terms of the timeline, as you look at this, again, they started in 2009. I'm not going to point out every highlight on here, but just a few things of real significance. 2013, they become publicly traded. Started out as a penny stock at about 12 cents a share on what's called traded on the over-the-counter market. Continue to offer stock to their agents and the staff that they had, and just grew organically through just honestly word-of-mouth referral, and that's how they grew over time. Now, 2015, they started a program called the Icon Agent Award. I honestly think this is one of the industry's biggest game changers I think real estate brokerage world has ever seen before. So we're going to cover just a little bit more here in just a few moments about what the Icon Agent Award does for agents. 2018 was another significant transition in EXP's history. They went from being traded on the over-the-counter market as a penny stock to being uplisted on the NASDAQ in 2018. What's significant about that is there are literally thousands of companies annually trying to get on the NASDAQ to trade their company stock. And we're thousands a year. They normally only take between 40 to 50 companies per year to uplist to the NASDAQ. EXP in 2018 was one of the 50 out of thousands that were uplisted because our performance and our financials are so strong and significant. So that's just brief timeline. In terms of agent growth, just a quick snapshot of this. Been around for 11 years now and already grown to over 33,000 agents. I started with EXP. I told you I heard about them around 2016. They were less than, I believe, less than 1,000 agents at that time. By the time 2017 rolled around, I had joined them in June of 17, and there were about 4,000 agents. So just in 3 years, we've gone from 4,000 agents to 33,000 agents just in the last couple of years. And it's not slowing down. It's picking up some significant momentum. In terms of just briefly their core values, just to touch on, I think what I like about this slide is, I mean, I could spend a couple hours just on this slide, and I promise I won't. There's one thing I want to just point out that's really significant to me and how agents look at other agents is we have 9 core values that make up the culture at EXP, but one of them is very significant to me, and it's called collaboration. What do I mean by collaboration? So let me just give an example. When I was at Keller, and again, had a great experience at Keller, nothing negative to say at all. I loved him. Still miss a lot of my friends there. But here's what's interesting. Every Friday morning, we would have a real estate agent mastermind. During that mastermind, I mean, we had an office of roughly about 450 people. So we would average about 60 to 70 agents in that mastermind every Friday morning at 10:30. The entire room, except for one person, was typically either brand new agents or newer within 6 to 8 months agents, and really just looking to still figure out all the answers and how to get their feet underneath them for their business. That there's always that one top producer that would come into the room and essentially help lead that conversation because those agents sharing ideas with other agents. And so that agent that would come in was typically sort of like, if you ever remember the gentleman E.F. Hutton, you know, whenever E.F. Hutton talks, everybody shuts up and listens. Well, that was the top producer for that mastermind time. And so everybody wanted to learn what they had. And so what's interesting is when you look at a brick and mortar office, you know, if this was a map and right in the center of this map was the office, and I could go out about 20 to 30 miles and draw a circle on that map around the radius of that office, and that would essentially be the geographical makeup of all the individual agents in that office. And so when you think of it geographically like that, everybody that's a part of that office lives within that circle, and they're also doing most of their production inside that geographical circle. So when the top producer is sharing with everybody else, essentially also is technically their competitor, they're limiting on how much they're sharing. But do you think they're going to share all their secrets and all their secret sauce with you every Friday, essentially, if you're competition with them? Would you think they're going to share all their secret sauce or hold something back? I'm going to go with the heads nodding, I see, holding something back. And that's normal. That's very common just in traditional real estate brokerage because, again, you know, we're all trying to build our own business and move forward in that way. Nothing wrong with that. That's traditional real estate brokerage. Now, what was different when I switched to EXP This is one of those things, until you experience it, it just feels like it's unheard of. Because I noticed when I came to EXP, everybody that was training or sharing their secret sauce, it seemed to be the energy was much higher and in a giving way. So I'm just going to share a gentleman I'm good buddies with in Sacramento, California. His name's Brent Gove. There's a really cool video that's available to watch about Brent if you haven't seen it yet. Highly recommend it. It's called themodelexplained.com. Brent's a good friend of mine out of Sacramento. He, on a bad year, does about $120 million in production. On a good year, about $200 million in production. So do that at a 3% commission rate, and there's kind of a good idea of what his business is bringing in on an annual basis. And so Brent does a training in our environment every week. And the guy is just a genius. He's a super passionate trainer. And every time I notice, he's just on fire. And so I asked Brent, how come, it seems like you're just sharing everything you've got. He goes, well, think about it, Chris. There's, number one, I'm in Sacramento, you're in Kansas City. We're not competing with one another. So I'm not worried about you taking business from me or market share if I give you all my secret sauce. But here's the bigger thing. I own a significant amount of stock with EXP because there's 5 different ways to get stock in our company being publicly traded. And it's awarded through performance through EXP's model. And so he goes, I've built up a lot of stock. I can't give you the number just because in a group meeting like this, it's just not responsible for me to do that. But I can tell you it's a massive amount of stock that he's earned in just 3 short years. And he said, when I help you and I help everybody else across the company learn how to do real estate better and better and better on a weekly basis, and your production goes up, what happens to our company's bottom line is all the production goes up. The valuation of our company goes up, right? Because we're performing more, better revenues, higher return, right? He goes, well, I own a lot of stock. So as I help everybody else succeed, the company succeeds. My portfolio also succeeds and goes up. So we're all owners working together, collaborating together, as opposed to being kind of essentially, honestly, selfish and kind of keeping to our own isolated environments and our own world mentality. So this model, it's the most collaborative, secret sauce, top tricks, tips given on a daily basis in our environment. I can't say it enough. And when you experience what the training's like, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's one of those intangibles you kind of just have to see for yourself what the difference is. Okay, so moving on from this slide, just the model itself. I kind of like this slide, just kind of gives you an example. You look at the brick and mortar, basically pick an industry. You've got Blockbuster, Circuit City, traditional real estate brokerages, and I love how, what did Netflix do to Blockbuster, right? When you think about how quickly Netflix changed an industry, in 5 years, Netflix bankrupted Blockbuster. They gave them the opportunity to buy them, but they said no. And so Blockbuster, unfortunately, is not around today. Amazon, what has Amazon done to the real estate, or not real estate, I'm sorry, but the retail industry? Think about how much change has taken place. I got a fun, I love this question. If you think it for a second, what does Uber actually own? Anybody want to mute and tell me? Any thoughts?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Oh, a software, I guess.
Exactly. They own an app, right? I mean,
Yeah.
They own the technology, but they don't own the cars. They don't have employees driving those cars, right? That's all contracted out. And so Uber, look how much money they make. They bankrupted the yellow cab industry in just 2 years. That is a significant change in an industry in just a short amount of time. Airbnb, I know Airbnb has kind of taken a hit the last few months, but overall, I mean, what does Airbnb actually own? An app, same thing. They own an app. They own the technology, but they were a $31 billion a year industry just because of an app and a system. And that's where EXP fits. We're like the Netflix, Amazon, Uber, Airbnb of the real estate brokerage world. Let me give just kind of a unique breakdown as you look at traditional real estate versus what we've created with this model. Pick a company, Remax, Century 21, Coldwell Banker, Sotheby's, Keller Williams. I came from Keller, so I'm going to use Keller as an example. But basically, every time a company has initiated their business model, they start out with the parent company or the international brokerage. So they essentially set up the system, how they're going to grow and evolve. And when Keller really came on the scene, they created over time They looked at a map of the United States and created 32 different regions for the United States, or essentially territories. And so of those territories, they sold each territory to an owner, and essentially that owner became a regional owner of that territory, sold that. Now the regional owner's position is now to find and create and develop as many franchise owners as they can that want people that want to buy franchise into that system. So then you have the international company that sold regions, that sold franchises. The franchise owner's job is to now go out and find the building, get the mortgage or lease. They take the, the personal note out. They sign the personal guarantees. They take on all the risk for that office. And so then their job from there is to hire the staff, the broker, the team leader, the admin, basically your core group of people. Now, what's unique about the team lead position is that's typically your recruiter and your trainer. They're doing a lot of, different hats that they're wearing. Sometimes the broker might do some more compliance training, but primarily most of the actual agent growth is coming from your team leader position. So that's a significant person. That's normally an $80,000 to $100,000 salary, bonus with recruitment. And so that's a big position. This all is happening before I've even introduced agents into the equation. So as we go through, you look at this, now we have agents added to the bottom of the model from this top-down real estate traditional brokerage model. Now, what's interesting is when you think about it, agents are the ones that are doing all the heavy lifting. They're the ones out meeting with customers. They're the ones out handling all the problems, handling the closings. They're doing all the heavy work. But yet, every time they develop a commission, it feeds this pipeline of financial above them. So there's a lot of cost. That's why a lot of brokerages have expensive splits, expensive monthly fees, or different things that's happening that you have to cover the overhead of what's above the agent. And so when EXP and Glenn and those guys created EXP and they created what this company is today, they looked at that and said, we understand that's how real estate has been in the past. That's not what we're going to create. We're going to completely turn this model upside down and create something completely different. And so when they looked at that, they said, we actually want to make the agents owners. We want to have them at the top of the model as opposed to the bottom of the food chain. And so EXP, their goal is just to be the platform for the agents to stand on top of and create and grow their business with their brand, their goals, everything, as long as they're staying within the legal guidelines of real estate law in their state. You can go for it, brand yourself the way you want to, grow the business the way you want to, and essentially be your own consultant, or you can brand EXP if you want, or you can be a completely different brand just brokered by EXP. And so this is a great model for independent agents. It's a great model for independent brokerages. And I'll cover that here in just a second. What do I mean by that? But when they created this model, the things that changed drastically from the old model to our model is they cut out the regional owners. We don't have regions. We're one international company. We're not franchised. We don't have franchise owners. We have completely cut out all the middlemen from that standpoint. We also cut out the brick and mortar overhead, which is one of the largest expenses for every individual brokerage office in the country, or around the world for that matter. Huge overhead, eats up a lot of expense. We also cut out the team lead position. Again, that is a significant change because that's normally the person that's your recruiter and your trainer for your agents, right? We cut that out, and I'll explain to you in a second how we evolved that position within our model. We also cut out the admin staff. So we don't have individual offices all over the country, all over our cities. We actually have a lot of online and virtual support when it comes to admin support. We have over 600 different employees in an admin function supporting our business across the country, now starting to spread across the world. So it's interesting as you look at this, for lack of a better term, but for really good visual, we cut out a lot of real estate fat from this financial equation, trimmed a lot of it and made it extremely lean. But in order to do that, you had to have a disruptive technology. And so when you think of disruptive technologies, go back to what we just saw. Netflix, how it affected Blockbuster, Uber to the yellow cab industry, Airbnb, to the hotel industry. A lot of changes, a lot of disruptive companies changed, and the common denominator with all of that was the internet, and especially now with high-speed internet. There's so much we can do. That's the common thread amongst all those industry changes and how they've been disrupted. And so that's where EXP fits, where the Airbnb, the Uber, the Netflix, and the Amazon real estate brokerage world now. But because they cut out so much overhead compared to the left side of the model, it opened up significant opportunities for agents at EXP to financially benefit from. The first one is we get stock equity in the company. We're publicly traded. on the NASDAQ. So there's 5 different ways to earn stock, and I'm going to cover that here in just a second, how that works. They also share revenue, owner revenue from the company. We're all agent owners. You know, Keller Williams has a unique model with profit share. That's one of the things that actually attracted me to Keller Williams. But Keller Williams has the model, just a quick high level. Profit share comes in, or gross profits come in from an office for on a monthly basis. They have to subtract out all the overhead for that office, you know, the mortgage, the taxes, the insurance, the utilities, the cleaning bill, the staging, the furniture, the cleaning, the parking lot bill, the landscaping. You know, it's a significant list of expenses that eat into the cost of the profits for an office on a monthly basis. So once they subtract all the expenses, then the franchise owner can take up between 52 to 75% of that remaining net profit for their take for that month, because they're the franchise owner. That remaining difference gets split up amongst agents and shared out to agents in the form of profit share for whatever remaining net profit is left over. That's how profit share works. I didn't know it until after I left Keller for 5 years and came to EXP and really learned how profit share works, because that's why you need to understand how powerful revenue share is, because revenue share pays off the top with no expenses taken out of it. And I've been told it pays on average about 20 times more than profit share. So it's significant. I'm going to cover just a little bit more detail in a second how profit share, our revenue share, actually works with agents at EXP to get passive income. Lead generation. This is a big one. Do all agents have all the leads they want coming in and more than they can handle? Hopefully you're in a situation that's happening, but I've talked to a number of agents, that's not necessarily the case. In fact, it seems to be that's one of the biggest struggles, is getting enough leads coming in to sustain or support their business so they can be full-time and get ahead where they want to financially. So what EXP did is they said, you know what? Glenn had such a good amount of success back when he first started as an agent, developing connections with people on the internet. We want to make sure that all agents at EXP have the best tools to go out and develop leads online. And so one of the things they did said, we're not going to try to invent it ourselves at this time. We want to find the best and hire the best and subsidize the cost for the best. And so we offer KV Core with our model at EXP. And it's a tremendous lead generation system. It's expensive to get it on your own. I mean, you could be at any brokerage out there and actually contact KV Core and purchase the lease from them to get the software. But their base cost is typically around $600 to $800 per month to have KV Core. That's just for their base package. And if you want to get all their bells and whistles to have the top end, what KV Core can offer, it's around $1,800 to $2,000 a month to lease that on a monthly basis. It's super expensive. So especially for new agents starting out, that's not cost effective. And so it's kind of separated the playing field on who can afford it versus who can't. EXP looked at that and said, you know what? We know it's expensive. We're going to actually help subsidize the cost of KV Core for over 33,000 agents. And everybody at EXP, if they want to have it, they can have their own KV Core lead generation system. It's a WordPress website with significant CRM technology behind it, a lot of artificial intelligence built into it already with a lot of different campaigns and how it tracks your business. All connects IDX connection to your backend MLS system. So your website can be your MLS for your potential clients and all your past clients just to shop and look at real estate. Awesome system. I can't say enough about it. Having a lot of agents on my team developing leads from this, averaging between 50 and 100, 200 leads a month coming from KV Core. And that's just one solution of them to get leads. So I'm really proud of that, because it's such a big deal that everybody here gets this. And it's included in just our base $50 a month tech fee. So instead of spending hundreds a month for it, or even thousands, it's included in just our base $50 tech fee. We get so much for our tech fee that I feel like we're getting KV Core for free. It's that powerful. So that's the lead generation. We also offer over 80 hours of live training per week, not recorded, not webinar based. We're talking interactive face-to-face through our virtual environment live, up to 80 hours a week or more on some weeks. And it's awesome because you get to interact with the trainer directly, other people in the class directly, or if it's an auditorium, see other questions, learn from other questions. It's a powerful environment. You know, when I was at Keller, we had some great training, but I think they averaged about roughly 5 to 7 hours of training a week. That was fine, you know, help cover the need at that point, but there's so much additional training here. I've never seen an environment like this. And the training ranges from the brand new agent that's just recently licensed and now trying to figure out now what, all the way up to the mega producing team doing 100, 200, $300 million in production a year and learning how to scale and grow their business multi-state. And so it's pretty interesting how the level of knowledge has organically just really transformed our training environment, because everybody coming over has so much knowledge that they bring it with them. And then they're just, again, back to the secret sauce sharing that Brent Gove does. It's like, you know, if I give a little bit here to help somebody else or help the company grow, you know, that's going to help my business. And so you'll consistently see that throughout our environment with everybody collaborating, helping one another. So that's training. Now, another biggie was that EXP healthcare insurance just started this year. Most companies don't offer insurance in the real estate world. That's a really rare opportunity to have that. I'll just briefly share about this, that we just started this program this year. Because I'm self-insured or self-employed, I have to get my own policy. And so I purchased, and for the last couple of years, a Blue Cross Blue Shield policy that was renewing May 1st of this year. The premium was increasing to $1,500 a month just for my family's premium. You saw my family, I've got a significant crowd to cover on insurance, healthcare. And so my premiums were increasing to $1,500 a month, and my deductible for my family was going up to $19,000 for the family. And so I was like, my gosh, all right, so this is getting a little out of hand. So I didn't really think much about our healthcare plan until it was time to actually shop. Sat down and got a chance to talk to somebody, went through it in April, and I was shocked that the numbers were so different. My premiums, if I switched EXP for a very similar plan, was going to be $740 a month, less than half of what I was paying for Blue Cross Blue Shield, just for the premium. And then the deductible was about a third for the family compared to what I was going to do at Blue Cross. So literally this year, in the next 12 months, we're saving $20,000 in our healthcare costs just because of this plan. That to me was a big game changer, because that's a $20,000 a year raise for me that I just gave myself just by switching to this healthcare plan. There's a website I can share with you later if you want more details, just to shop at and compare and take a look, feel free. Another benefit to our model is investing in real estate. There's a lot of people that are entrepreneurs at EXP, and they really do like to find multiple streams of income, all in the real estate lane. And what's interesting is there's so much collaboration and working together that people, you know, that have built up some good wealth here at EXP are also now looking for other ways to invest their money. And so if you're an investor looking for private money lending or hard money funding, you know, there's a lot of lending going back and forth, a lot of syndicating, a lot of partnerships, a lot of JVs taking place within our environment. So it's really cool to get connected to other people in our environment to build those relationships. If you're an investor or wanting to learn about it, that's another thing that we coach and teach just in our own training environment. So that's just, in my opinion, just a side benefit about what we're doing at EXP. But as you look at this page, I just really want you to make sure you take away from this that the left side of the conversation is broker driven. It's top down, broker driven. The right side of the conversation is completely agent driven. All the education, the growth, the inspiration, everything that's happening is from the agents. And it's because we all are building ownership in the company. We have a voice that's louder than any company I've ever seen. And so it's pretty cool what they've created from that mastermind. Now, just kind of recapping, the typical franchise has a lot of overhead. It's confined. It's limited in growth and incentives, and especially limited to technology and support. Our environment is a cloud campus environment, no desk fees. You can truly work from anywhere. 80 hours of live training a week. Talked about real-time support and I'm in the Central Standard Time Zone, so we go from 8 a.m. until 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. East Coast, 9 a.m. till 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. And some of the technology that we have actually has 24/7 support. So we have the opportunity to get help at all times throughout the hour. I'm typically working with people during the day, doing paperwork at night, or family time at night, and then paperwork after. And then when I get stuck on something, typically at midnight or 2 in the morning, that's when I'm on with tech support getting help with my problem. And they're there to help me within seconds. So it's been a really cool experience. Collaboration, again, I can't say enough about, but because of our model, it's opened up the opportunity for revenue share and all kinds of stock programs that we have. So again, we can work from anywhere, no desk fees. It's kind of interesting. I was flying to Vegas a couple of years ago to go to a real estate conference from Kansas City, direct flight, 3-hour flight. And I was bored for that 3 hours. So I pulled up my laptop, hit Southwest Wi-Fi, and I saw that there was a training that was happening. I thought it was pretty cool. So I went ahead and logged into it. And I'm sitting there virtually in a classroom with about 30 other people from around the country. And I started chuckling. I forgot I was unmuted. And somebody said, "What's the joke? I missed it." And I said, "Well, it just hit me. I'm at 38,000 feet in the clouds, in the cloud." And I was like, oh my gosh, this is it was just a weird experience, but it's kind of neat. It just really proved to hit home that we have so much flexibility to be connected and learning at any given time, or connecting and collaborating at any given time. The training is from every topic you could imagine. If you want to get a good snapshot of what our training is, somebody want to paste the link in the chat, feel free. For those of you that know it, but just go to expcloud.com. And you can pull up our training schedule to see what we're covering on a daily basis, from video marketing to social media masterminds to sales and listing presentations to buyer agency presentations, accounting, how to manage the numbers for your business, to talking to other top producing agents that are at the icon level. They do a lot of training just with the icons. So it's a significant, CRM and technology tools. Everything you need to know about how to run your business, whether if you're new or if you are doing 100 to 200 million in production, we have an environment that's going to help you take a step further in your business, because there are so many people that have done so well that the collaboration is you're going to learn from them, share ideas, and grow. The matter masterminding is not like anything I've ever seen. And then again, with a lot of the training, they will record most of it. If you're not able to make a live version, a live class, then they will go ahead and record it, and you can go back through our environment and catch and watch the archived recorded version of it. So a lot of flexibility in that standpoint. Again, the support we talked about, basically 11 hours a day, Monday through Friday. Collaboration, can't say enough about it. I'm going to get into just the brief financials of how it works at EXP. This is where some people either get excited, or they look at me and they say, well, my company's better than that. And I say, well, let's just talk it through and give me a chance to understand how all this works. So our company is a 80-20 split with no royalty, no desk fees, none of those additional fees that come on top of that from the office standpoint. It's a pure 80-20. We have a $16,000 cap. So essentially, once you've paid in $16,000 out of your commissions from your 20% split, you hit the cap, and you go to 100% commission after that. Once you hit 100% commission for the next 20 transactions after you hit your cap, there's a $250 transaction fee. After the 20th transaction, it goes to a $75 transaction fee. I'm going to explain how EXP has set up our model to where all of this, if you take advantage of some of the additional income streams, it can more than reimburse you back for all of this. It's really impressive what they've put together so that you can be in a position that EXP is literally paying you to be an agent. Because I shock a lot of people when I tell them my numbers, but I actually today make about 300% of my commissions through EXP's model. And I've had the best real estate year of the last 9 years, these last 12 months, the highest production I've ever had. And I make about 300% of my commissions today. And so I share that, just I want you to understand that I've got friends that have come here that were on 100% and had to pay a small, per transaction fee. And they said, well, why would I want to come here? I'm going to give up more money. I said, well, here's the thing. Once I explain all this to you, you're going to realize you can make more than 100% with our model. So stay with me. Hang on for a second. We're going to go for a ride. I'm going to show you how this works, because there's 23 total different ways to make money in EXP, not just real estate sales, listings, and referrals, which is what most brokerages offer you. There's only 3 ways to make money. With EXP, there's 23 ways to make money. Standard startup costs, just to start your business with EXP, is $149. That includes your first month's brokerage fee of $85. The fee is broken up into 2 parts monthly. It's a $50 technology fee. There's a lot of technology you get for that, including KV Core for $50 a month. On the $35 a month difference that's the education university fee that we have. And that covers over 4,000 hours of live training per year. That's a significant amount. When I kind of took a look at how I was doing when I was at Keller, we averaged about 5 to 7 hours of training a week in our office, which was nice. It was good to have it. Some offices don't even train. But then if I wanted anything above and beyond that, I needed to pay additional dollars for that. I was a Bold graduate. I went through Bold one time. I spent $800 just for a 6-week course. And so when I saw that I could spend $420 a year for over 4,000 hours of live training, that blew my mind. I was shocked by that. And so that's a steal for that amount of training. So $85 a month, that first month's $85 month is included in your $149 startup fee. So you get 1,000 business cards, you get a big box of presentation folders, plus your website setup and all kinds of other technology backend setup, all for $149. There's not a wasted penny in our model. For every transaction that you close, there's a $25 broker review fee. That's per transaction. That's how our brokers get paid. Our brokers are involved from your transaction from day one all the way through the end when you close. Have you ever had that problem where you had a file that you submitted to your broker? The compliance person checked it the day of closing, found out there were a couple of pages that needed some help. Maybe there was an I that didn't get dotted correctly or a T that didn't get crossed correctly. They came back to you and said, we need page 2 and 3 and 4 fixed before we can pay your commission. You ever had that conversation? Well, I've had many of those. And so I was normally getting stuff fixed after closing that would take a couple of days after closing with my clients, get everything signed and submitted back. And then it was about a week or longer sometimes to get paid my commission. So at EXP, our model with SkySlope is set up so that we are constantly updating and checking our folder all through the transaction and letting you know within 24 hours. If there's an issue with something, they're going to let you know within 24 hours, not the day of closing. So I love that because by the time your goal is by the time you get to closing, you've got a fully compliant file. I upload my closing disclosure, the final, CDA and the commission check that is going to EXP that day of closing, and I literally have my commission the next day in my account within 24 hours. I consistently get paid my commission within 24 hours. So for me, that was pretty exciting. That was a big change from my previous environment. We have a $40 risk management fee. This is your errors and omissions insurance, or E&O. Some brokerages just charge you on a monthly or probably more quarterly or semi-annual basis the fee for this. EXP says we're not going to have you send us a check. We'll just deduct per transaction $40 E&O fee up to capped at $500 a year. So our E&O total for a year is $500. Some brokerages charge about the same, some maybe more. But I like this because I actually take it out of a transaction, so I'm not having to write a check for it. So those are our total costs with everything about EXP's model. They don't make deals for agents. I know some brokerages that, they might cut a deal for an agent for a year because they so badly want them to come over. EXP, straight across the board, everybody's the same. A lot of agents like that because they know that it's a fair playing field for everybody coming on board. Now we're going to get into some of the really fun stuff. So talking about equity opportunities with EXP. So EXPI is our ticker symbol traded on the NASDAQ. You can Google this, check out our performance. The stock in the last couple of months has just been nothing but out of this world exciting. A lot has changed with my portfolio just in the last couple of months because of this. And so I'm going to go through, there's 5 different ways to get stock at EXP. The first one is when you actually become an EXP agent, you close your first transaction, EXP is going to award you $200 worth of stock just for closing your first deal. That's if that happened this year, you would get $200 in stock. When the cap resets the next year for 2021, and when you close your first transaction in 2021, they award you another $200 worth of stock and get more ownership in the company. 2022 comes around, you close your first deal, that's another $200 in stock. This keeps going on every year until you decide you're ready to hang up and retire from real estate at EXP. So if you're in production 20, 30 years from now, close your first deal every year, that's 200 times those number of years, just from that one bullet. That does add up and grow over time, to be clear. Now, capping. So when you hit your cap at EXP, then they award you more stock in the company just for capping. Capping, just to give you a ballpark what that would look like. So depending on what type of market your commission structure is and where you're at, the average around the country is about 3% commission. So if you are in a 3% market with all your average transactions around 3%, you would need to sell roughly about $2.7 million of real estate sales to hit your cap. If you're in a 2.5% market, that's roughly selling about $3.2 million worth of sales of real estate sales to hit your cap. Once you hit your cap, then EXP says we're going to award you $400 in stock just for hitting your cap. So if you're an agent that you get to where, some markets average anywhere from $200,000 average property price point to $500,000 a price point to $800,000 a price point, average price point in their market. So you could sell anywhere from 4 to 8 or 9 houses or 12 houses a year, depending on your market range of price points. And within, 4 to 12 houses a year, somewhere in the middle of that, you're going to be capping every year. Yeah, I know part-time agents that do that amount, let alone full-time agents. And so just by capping every year, you're essentially getting 200 plus the 400, you're getting $600 in stock every year just for capping. Now, that's pretty cool because that does add up. Now the third bullet is if you happen to refer an agent to EXP and they close their first transaction, the person that essentially sponsors them at EXP will get awarded $400 in stock when the person they referred closes their first transaction. You know, I found that really interesting because my buddy Brent told me a story about when he was at Remax. He was there for 12 years. He was one of the top 5 producers at Remax. And he said he referred over the course of 12 years about 50 of his agent buddies to Remax. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. Over 12 years, 50 agents, that's a lot of business that came over. That's a lot of production that took place because those were high producing agents that he brought over. Remax thought so much of Brent that they awarded him as a big gift 3 Starbucks gift cards for referring over 50 agents to Remax. I don't know about you, but the broker owner definitely profited extremely well from Brent's referrals, but Brent basically got coffee and not that much. So I thought that was interesting that EXP said, you know what, when they did that mastermind, they wanted to say, if agents help grow this company and are part of our growth effort, we want to make sure they're rewarded for that. And so one of the ways they award agents for referring an agent is you get $400 in stock when an agent you refer closes their first deal. Now, I'm off to the Icon Agent Award. I mentioned this earlier when we were on the timeline part of the conversation. Icon, how Icon works is it's a really more of a production-based award. So remember what we talked about, what it takes to hit your cap. Once you close 20 more transactions after hitting your cap, okay, EXP says, we're going to take that $16,000 that you paid in your split, and we're going to pay the whole $16,000 back to you in company stock. That's a big deal because I've never met a company that actually says, we're going to pay you your entire cap back as a thank you for the production goals that you hit. Now, some people say, well, why stock? You know, why not the cash? And I said, well, think about it. If they give you $16,000 back, that's cool because you got your cap back. But here's the thing. You know, you basically gave them a 0% loan for that year until you got your $16,000 back. If it's company stock, you know, this is a really big deal because I want you to think about this for a second. When I started with EXP 3 years ago, the stock price was about $3 a share. So let's just, I'm gonna get my calculators, take 16,000. Let's divide that by $3. That comes out to exactly 5,333 shares of EXPI stock. Well, I looked up today and just to see what our stock price was, and we closed today, 3 years later, at $41.01 per share. Guys, that's about a, what, 12 times, you know, no, about 14 times growth just within the last 3 years. So the people that hit Icon at $3 a share 3 years ago, those same 5,333 shares, let's multiply that by 4101. 3 years later, that stock is now worth $218,000 of what was awarded to them 3 years ago. That's why stock is so important because our company is growing faster than any real estate brokerage in history. And we have no debt, and the amount of production and volume that we're hitting, we're setting records and awards in this industry right now, being the #1 independent firm in the country. Independent firm, not franchise. So that is a big deal because you have the ability to qualify for Icon every year if you get your production up to that point. You know, that could be in some markets 24 houses or 24 closings a year, or it could be 26 or 28, 30 closings a year, depending on what your price point is. So, but that's roughly the production that you're looking at where you would qualify to earn your entire cap back in stock every year that you hit the production goal. Can't say enough about it. We have a lot of people hitting Icon, and all of the Icon agents do training about 5 to 10 times a week in our environment, just the Icons. So you get to learn from people hitting this kind of production and learn to do exactly what they did. Now, another opportunity to earn stock is through what we call our agent equity program. This is set up so that, think of it like a stock purchase plan if you worked at a corporation. You can buy so much stock out of every paycheck. Well, how we set this up is that for every transaction that you close on, every commission that you get paid, you have the opportunity, it's optional, but you can take 5% of the commissions that you earn on every transaction and purchase stock from EXP at a 10% discount. We call this one, just call it the set it and forget it money. Put it on autopilot, don't even think twice about it, just let it go. Because over time, that really does start to grow. I looked at a I looked at my stock that I've purchased just in the last 3 years from that one bullet. I've spent about roughly $6,000 out of my commissions over the last 3 years from transactions that I've bought stock from. That stock today is worth just over $31,000 in stock, and I only spent $6,000 over 3 years. And so that's the power of just even that one line item, because that's going to continue to grow and multiply over time. So I'm really excited about the stock. I can't believe how much we've built up just in a short 3-year time span. You know, I was not getting equity from Keller when I was at Keller Williams. They didn't offer ownership to me unless I bought into part of the office franchise ownership structure. I had to put money out of my pocket to do that, or take out debt to do that. And so it just didn't make sense with where I was at in my business. But here, EXP says, just through your own production, we're going to award you equity in the company through different ways through your production or helping the company grow. So 5 different ways to get stock. Any brokerage out there, Charles Schwab, Fidelity, any E-Trade, name a partner that's trading on the NASDAQ, you can buy your stock at market rate. Revenue share. So this is where I think the 800-pound gorilla came into play, because I love what revenue share is doing for people. This one slide has really changed my family's life dramatically. I'm going to get into just a couple of things that I think make a big difference why this is important for you. How revenue share works is it's the company's ability to where they're paying out 50% of the company dollar that comes into them on a gross basis to agents for helping to grow the company. Remember that team leader position we talked about earlier? That position got eliminated in our model. Everybody gets the same financial benefit of what a team leader does. And so whether if you train, a lot of people will help train in our environment, but if you help refer anybody to EXP, whether if it's just, you know, word of mouth, or if you actually called a buddy up and said, hey, you should check this out, like Jim did to me back in 2017, EXP rewards agents for the production that came to the company that was referred to them through revenue share. They pay out 50% of that. I'm going to show you a slide to kind of just give you a breakdown of this. We essentially copied the 7-tier structure from Keller Williams profit share model, but when they did that mastermind, you know, they really wanted to figure out how to make it more profitable. And so they decided to set it up to pay revenue off the top instead of net profit at the bottom, like profit share paid. They loved the 7-tier structure, but felt profit share was broken. So they wanted to figure out how to make it better. And so they pay out different percentages for each tier. And the reason what we know, when you look at the stock and you look at the revenue share and all the reasons why they put all this together, is they said, you know what? When we look at how agents are today, we know that they're really good at 2 things. The first one is selling homes, selling real estate, and the second one is spending money. We want to be able to help them to build wealth during their production years, so they've got something to fall back on once they're done and hanging up their hat. I'll never forget when I was going to real estate school back in 2012, and there was a 75-year-old lady in there getting her license. And I was like, hey, I gotta talk to her. I mean, that's awesome that she is where she's at, and she's coming back to go kill it in real estate. So I asked her, hey, tell me why are you getting your license? She goes, I used to be in the business a long time ago. I ran out of money. I have no savings. I didn't do a good job of saving. And so I'm coming back at the age of 75 to get my real estate license. That shocked me, because it made me think about how important saving and building for the future and retirement planning is so significant. Most real estate brokerages out there are just so focused on the next sale to the next sale to the next sale. They're not thinking big picture long term about how do we help our agents make sure they're set up for the long term once they're ready to hang up their hat in real estate sales. So I thought that was a big deal, how much emphasis the agent-driven model is focused on helping agents succeed. So how the revenue share works, I'm just going to give you a different chart to look at that kind of helps break the numbers down a little bit better. How it works is if you refer a friend, anybody you refer to EXP would be on your tier 1. And if that agent hits their cap, EXP is going to pay you up to $2,800 out of that $16,000 that was paid into the company. So again, revenue share is not coming out of the agent's 80% split. It's coming out of the company's 20% bucket shared out of that back to agents that help the company grow. So the agent that's doing the transaction, they're not getting penalized. This is strictly coming from the company's bucket portion of their revenue. So if you sponsor one person, they hit their cap, then you're going to get paid up to $2,800 over the course of that time frame it took them to cap. They do not have to cap to get paid revenue share, because you get paid per transaction up to the cap. And what it's saying is number of agents is, if you want to get paid the $3,200 that they pay on tier 2, meaning that tier 2 is somebody that your tier 1 person sponsored, and referrals all the way down to tier 7. So that's essentially how this structure is set. Again, we copied this tier system from Keller Williams. We didn't make it up. We didn't invent it. Keller's the largest brokerage in the country today. They've got roughly around 150, 160,000 agents, somewhere in that ballpark. They became the largest in the country because of their profit share plan. Problem is, most people aren't talking about profit share anymore because it doesn't pay that much. And so revenue share is paying considerably more. Let me give you just a couple of examples financially how this works. Again, I worked in mutual funds for about roughly 15 years. And I worked with a lot of retirement planners. And a lot of those people are essentially looking at how are they going to set themselves, their structure set up for retirement. And so the average financial planner will tell you, hey, if you want to be able to retire, hopefully you paid everything off, you're out of debt by the time you get retired. Otherwise, you might need to keep working to pay it off. But in your retirement, what we're going to call option 1 is if you want to be able to draw $3,000 a month or $36,000 a year in your retirement, you need to have saved $900,000 after tax at a conservative 4% rate to draw in your retirement. That's option 1. Well, option 2, with our EXP plan that we put together through revenue share, when I was talking with Rob Flick back when I told you he was the guy that was a big reason why I came here from what I learned from him, he shared with me this option. He goes, do you think our model's attractive with everything that we offer so far? And I said, yeah, it's significantly different compared to where I was at. And he goes, well, do you think other agents might be at least interested to learn what this is about? I'm like, hands down, yes. I referred a ton of people to Keller Williams for less reward for what they were getting for it. And so what I saw here was, I've got pretty confident some of my friends would probably like to at least see this, if not be a part of it with me. So he goes, well, tell you what if you just referred 3 agents a year for 2 years? That means you would have 6 agents on your tier 1. He said, our goal is to help all of our agent buddies that came on to refer at least one of their buddies, over 2 years. So everybody has a real estate buddy. We're all networked. We're all connected. We all have that people we have to go and get coffee with and talk shop with. And so our goal for us personally is to refer 3 agents a year for 2 years. That's 6 on your tier 1. If all 6 refer 1, that we help them do that through our system. These are things that I teach and help my team grow every month. Just one over 2 years. This does not qualify you as a recruiter at all. Some of my buddies that joined me with EXP were ex-Keller Williams team leaders that did the recruiting and training for their office. And they said their quota was to at least sign up 10 agents per month for 12 months straight for 120 agents a year was their quota. If they didn't meet that, they got fired. So that's a recruiter, 120 a year versus I'm talking 6 over 2 years. That's a big world of difference. And so here's what it looks like financially. Let's assume all these agents are hitting their production roughly 2.5 to 3.5 million a year or more. If they're capping agents, EXP is going to pay you up to $2,800 per capping agent on your tier 1. So if you have 6 capping agents on your tier 1, that's 6 times $2,800 or $16,800 on your tier 1. That's just your tier 1. Remember, we pay revenue share on 7 tiers. Now you have 6 agents on tier 2. They pay $3,200 per capping agent on your tier 2, times the 6 agents referred by your friends on tier 2. That's $19,200 just getting paid just on your tier 2, a combined $36,000 a year annually, with having a total of 12 agents in your organization, and you only brought 6 personally to EXP. This is over a 2-year span. Again, time is irrelevant. I know people that did this in 6 months. I know people that have done this over 4 or 5 years, just because this was just kind of not even an effort they put in. This was truly just an organic, just people asking questions kind of story, saying, well, I'd be interested to learn what you're doing. Tell me more about it. So this is what happens. Now we have a more unique system to help people make this a part of their business plan. So when I was talking with Rob Flick, he really got my attention because I got to learn from him how much money he was making just within the first 18 months of him joining EXP. I won't share that here on this call, but if people want to have a private meeting with me one-on-one, we can probably talk a little more informal about some of the real financials that I'm seeing here. But it really got my attention, and I asked him, Rob, how did you make that? I'd like to learn how to make that income because it was considerably more than $36,000 a year. But what I want to point out on the slide before I move on is if you think about this, you're making $36,000 a year in option 2, You're making $36,000 a year in option 1. What looks harder? Saving $900,000 after tax, or referring 3 agents a year just for 2 years to a model that looks, in my opinion, and I think some others' opinions, pretty attractive. So I went with option 2 because I knew that this would work if I just gave it just the old college try, just the old little bit of effort, just a tiny bit of effort. It's been shocking what's happened for me just in the last 3 years. So I asked Rob, how did you get to making where you're at? He goes, well, do you want to make more in retirement? I said, well, absolutely. $36,000 a year is going to be a challenge for me with my family and things I want to do with travel and, having some different places to go to in the summer and the winter. I want to be able to go do things. I want to have some options, essentially, is what we're talking about. He goes, well, how much would you like to make in retirement? I said, probably between, with my investments and, passive income, all those things added up, it'd be nice if I could be between 150 to maybe 200,000 a year in passive income in my retirement. That would be a pretty awesome place to be after working hard in real estate and building up investments for 30 years or so. He goes, well, how about we just call it 180? What if you say, or you were making 180,000 a year in your retirement, but if you hadn't done the things you've done to build up passive income and you still want to make 180,000 in your retirement, you need to save $4.5 million after tax at a conservative 4% rate, drawing $15,000 a month or $180,000 a year. That's $4.5 million after tax. That to me looked like a challenge. Even with everything I was going to go after and do, that definitely was going to be harder. That's option 1. Rob presented to me a 5-year plan. He said, in the 2-year plan, you refer 3 agents a year for 2 years. What if we watered this down and only did 2 agents a year? So 1 every 6 months for 5 years. You would have 10 agents on your tier 1 spread over 5 years. Now our goal is to help all of our 10 agents essentially do the exact same thing you did. Help them refer 2 of their buddies a year for 5 years. Within all the real estate classes they go to, people they co-op with. I mean, you think about how many people you come in contact with all the time and compare and trade notes. You'd be surprised how many people that are in real estate. And so our goal was to help all 10 refer 10 over 5 years. Again, half a decade. Well, what's 10 times 10? 100. You would have 100 agents on your tier 2 over 5 years. So when you look at the numbers, again, let's assume if all of these agents were selling, 2.5, roughly 3 million a year and hitting their cap, well, the math is still the same, but only by more agents. So now you have 10 agents on tier 1 times 2,800 per capping agent. You're making $28,000 a year just on your tier 1. Now on tier 2, you've built an organization of 100 agents. So it's 3,200 times 100 agents comes out to $320,000 you're getting paid just on your tier 2. Combined tier 1 and tier 2, that's $348,000 a year with 110 agents in your organization, but you only brought 10 agents personally over 5 years. Now that's assuming all agents are hitting their cap. So I know some of us, and myself personally at that time, was also kind of skeptical, thinking, well, not everybody's going to probably cap. So Rob said, well, tell you what if everybody only half capped, sold about $1 million to $1.3 million a year on average? You would divide the 348 by 2, and you'd still be making $174,000 a year annually, even if the entire group of agents only half capped. That's 110 part-time agents, essentially, in your organization, doing only 1.3. Some people, that might be 1 house a year. In some markets, others, that might be 2 or 3 houses a year. Some maybe 5 or 6 houses a year. That's the type of income that's still coming in through revenue share. And I realized when I saw this, when I was making profit share, basically the scraps left over at the bottom of the spreadsheet when I was at Keller, here, what I'm seeing is this is true owner revenue coming off the top. This is what, like an owner of an office, this is the type of revenue they make what they take from the agents generating production. This is what it looks like for them. But only we're able to do this at EXP without having to invest and create all the overhead that goes into an office and having to start everything and taking all the risk. So, because I've built up some good revenue share with this model, and I have 0 time in any of those transactions and no risk. And so when I looked at this and I started thinking about the rental portfolio that I've been building, I've built up an interesting portfolio of rentals from duplexes, fourplexes, single family homes. And I'm like, my gosh, if I look at what it takes to buy a rental, put the money into it, fix it up, get a tenant in place, property management, market it leased, and finally cash flowing, at that point in time, my goal would be to be making about $300 a month on a single family home. Well, that's about roughly $3,600 a year per rental property. That's assuming all my tenants pay and don't damage the property. And I got to looking at this and I was like, my gosh, this is like getting a rental property, but without all the headache. And so just referring an agent that caps, that's like getting a rental property every year. So if I referred 6 agents, that's like 6 rentals. So it was interesting to see how much effort goes into rentals versus just referring an agent. And so it's an awesome way to develop passive income. And so that's just a snippet of how the revenue share works. Again, I've only showed you 2 tiers. We pay 7 tiers of revenue share. It's a significant dollar amount that gets paid out. Again, 50% of the gross revenues from EXP just from revenue share. Now, we're growing internationally. We're in all 50 states in the US. We're across Canada. We're opened in Australia last year, end of 2019. We opened in Great Britain. This year, they just announced by the end of this year, we're going to have opened in India, South Africa, Portugal, France, and last but not least, Mexico. We're opening in all 5 of those countries just by the end of this year. Why that's significant to you and I, number one, as being an agent owner in the company, we actually get to grow and develop. We get to be rewarded from the growth of the sales and all the businesses around the world as we continue to grow. I've been told within the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to be in the top 30 markets around the world. So being an agent owner, we get to share in the growth in the revenue from what EXP grows. As our stock price goes up, I mean, just this April, it was down to about $7 a share, and we're now at $41 a share here 4 months later. Now, I know that I'm very confident, optimistic, that's going to continue to grow significantly over the next couple of years, because we are projected to become the largest real estate brokerage in the world within about the next 3 to 4 years with our growth rate and what's happening. So keep an eye out. We're in front of the wave right now with the EXP's model. So don't snooze on this. At least pay attention and find out more about what's going on. But the reason why the international growth is so significant is I know friends that know people in those other countries. I could literally get a referral to a real estate agent in another country. One of my family members is actually from India that married into our family. His entire family is back in India. He's already reaching out to his friends and his family to see who in India is in real estate they could refer to me. The reason why is, what if I referred a friend in, let's say I'm in Kansas City. Let's say I referred a friend in Florida, and that friend happens to know an agent in Mexico, who happens to know an agent in Australia, who happens to know an agent in France, and that person knows somebody in India. You know, you could have referrals, 7 generations, 7 tiers of a revenue share model being referred to agents across the country or across the world, and you're making revenue from transactions that are closing in other states, other countries, and you're hanging out in your local market. But you took a step, you referred this to somebody else, who referred it to somebody else, and you're actually making true cash in your bank account revenue from those transactions closing all over the world. You know, I've heard kind of an interesting thought the other day. Somebody said, our goal is to grow this so big that the sun never sets on where we're earning income. Take that in for a second. That to me was mind-blowing to think of it in that way, that the sun would never set on where you're earning income. So in terms of our technology, just the different things we have, our EXP World, that has been our disruptor to the real estate world. I mean, we are able to connect 33,000 different agents from around the country and other markets around the world, all in our virtual cloud environment. We have all of our accounting, our transaction coordinator groups, our technology department, every department, brokerage operations, all the support that you need, all in our environment to connect with on a daily basis. It's literally at my fingertips. The collaboration that takes place, the training that takes place, all of the things that people are doing to network and help each other. Large scale meetings. We have large auditoriums in our environment where we have big group trainings taking place every day. Again, go look up expcloud.com, click on one of those classes, and it'll show you what the topic is and where it's located at. If somebody wanted to get into our training just to experience it and take it on a test drive, reach out to the person that connected you to this meeting tonight, have them get you set up with a temporary 2-week pass to come in, create an avatar. It kind of looks like this cartoon character guy. I look a lot better as an avatar than I do in real life, by the way. I can do some cool dancing in my avatar world. But there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with this, and you can get access to this for free, no cost to you, to come check it out, give it a test drive, and come see what it's like. take a tour, see what this is, go sit in an icon class and learn how to improve your production today, tomorrow. You can implement with wherever you're at this week, next week, and apply it to your own business. You don't have to be at EXP to even be a part of that. We'll give you, check it out for a couple of weeks. And if you want to extend it past that, we can extend it past that for maybe another couple of weeks. So I can't say enough about this. When I first saw it, I was kind of like, this kind of feels like a video game. But once I got in there and got support for the first time on a real life transaction, where I got help in 5 minutes from a transaction coordinator, that was a game changer for me and the amount of time it took to get help. Because my old office, there was normally one person that was in my 450 agent office that I was trying to get help with. Normally they had a line at their door or a stack of emails to get back on. And it took, hours and sometimes a day or two to hear from her. Here, we're getting help literally within 5 to 10 minutes to support our business. Again, work from anywhere, anytime. This was an interesting stat. The National Association of Realtors said that in any given year, about 20 to 33% of realtors are uninsured. That is huge. When I saw what we can do with our healthcare plan, this is a big difference in helping people to save money and get health insurance now. If you want to get more information about it, go check out expagenthealthcare.com, and that will give you all the juice you need to learn about our plan and see if it makes sense for you. In terms of our solutions, we have 5 different components that make up our technology. EXP Enterprise is our business intelligence. It's your entire business on a dashboard. So based on all the transaction you have, it's tracked by transaction. All the stock that you're earning in those 5 different ways I covered, it shows you itemized by transaction through referral to, first close transaction every year to hitting your cap or hitting icon. All of your stock is tracked right through our business intelligence portal for you. Plus, if you happen to refer anybody and you're developing revenue share, then all of your passive income revenue share is also tracked in our EXP Enterprise. It's a pretty awesome environment because it gives us access to the entire backend with EXP, with all the different solutions we offer, and plus tracking our financials and our business. SkySlope is our transaction management software. It's similar to like Dotloop or DocuSign. I feel SkySlope is the best document management system I've ever used. It's very intuitive, simple to use, track my entire business, all the paper. And also that's where our brokers and our transaction coordinators access to keep up with our files to make sure we're compliant on a daily basis. We have another environment to connect with agents in an environment called EXP Workplace. It's a Facebook application built on Facebook's technology, but it's covered for the entire company. So all 33,000 agents, plus all of our employees and our leadership, everybody connects through Workplace. There's probably over 100 different groups within our workplace environment to collaborate per topic. It's awesome. People that want to focus strategically just on social media. There's an entire group just for social media, and some of the best social media experts with EXP around agents around the country are in here teaching in those groups or doing live trainings that tie back to those groups. So it's a lot of 24/7 forum dialogue with every topic you can imagine, from how to have a really cool sign to how to do a really good buyer presentation to, hey, what do you do with troubleshooting this problem with the transaction? Every support I've ever seen has been all within Workplace. CRM and lead generation system. So this is our KV core, tons of training, all the technology. Again, all of this is included in our tech fee of $50. Branding and marketing. We have a division called Breakthrough Broker. They have created over 7,000 different marketing templates, from door hangers to social media shareables to flyers for open houses, to name anything you've ever created, from a sign to a brochure to a door hanger or a business card. All of that is handled through our branding and marketing division with Breakthrough Broker. It's pretty cool because I've met some agents that said they're really creative in how they want to get artistic about their marketing. And so if they didn't have a template that already matched what they were looking for, you can go ahead and connect with our marketing department. They will work with you to help create that for you, give you the templates that you need, and then upload that to the main channel so everybody else has access to it as well. EXP is really big about you branding you. You don't have to brand or market EXP. If you have a brand or a logo or anything you want to do that helps you market yourself that you've already created today and you've been building your business with, EXP says, hey, awesome, keep it. Continue to grow with that. You're just, whoever you are, real estate entity, brokered by EXP Realty in small letters on your sign, based on, as long as it's compliant with whatever your state guidelines are for signage and marketing. You're just brokered by EXP. Whether you're an individual agent, a large mega team, or even an independent broker, our model fits for a lot of people for many reasons. If you're an independent broker, as an example, You've got the overhead for your office. You've also got all the risk and liability for all the higher costs of E&O, and the buck stops with you. So you've got all that cost. So a lot of independents typically struggle because there's only so much they can afford to offer towards technology, the splits, the fees, and everything they got to get. Plus, they got to make it competitive for the agents to stay there, because a lot of times, you know, teams or broker independents are basically training their competition because they're going to switch and go somewhere else later. And so what a lot of independents are doing is they're saying, wow, we love what we're seeing with the EXP model. So they can literally pick up their independent brokerage and go set it down on top of EXP's model and still be their same independent firm, just now brokered by EXP Realty. Then they get access to all the bells and whistles, from revenue share to stock, all our training that we offer. You know, that now becomes a part of their office and existence. They can leverage all the technology we have. They all now get access to KV Core. So it's pretty cool when you look at an independent firm, what it can bring to them and help them with their business. So I get excited about that because I'm seeing a lot of independent firms. In fact, we just brought over the second largest independent firm in the country, Revelation Real Estate out of Phoenix. They've got 900 agents in their office. And in the last year, they sold about $1.7 billion worth of real estate. And they just picked up the office and brought the whole thing to EXP this year in March. And so it's pretty cool to see what other independents are doing and other teams are doing because of how much this offers and helps them with their company and their business. Again, here's our marketing and branding. You get 1,000 business cards, access to all the brochures and templates, signage, everything you can fathom, from just your standard yard sign, metal sign, to the colonial signs and anything in between that you want to do to brand and sell your business, to market and help your clients sell their homes. Our preferred partners. I'm almost done, guys. Hang in there with me. I know I'm going a little bit long, but I want to make sure we had all the bases covered with what EXP is doing. Almost there. We have a number of different preferred partners. IntroLend, we actually have a way now to make money as real estate agents at EXP through mortgages. We can make money on Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac mortgages, FHA mortgages, VA mortgages, conventional, USDA, anything going through traditional mortgages. We now have a division that we as agents get to make money on. I'm not going to do a deep dive into that tonight just for the sake of time. I just want you to understand we now can make a passive income stream on a quarterly basis through our division called IntroLend to make money on mortgages. Every agent can do this. Silverline Title, we have an online title company that connects in all 50 states. We have a great division to help us with that. If you need another title escrow partner, if you have your own, stick with them. That's fine. This is just an option. Express offers. There's 3 different ways to make money with express offers. This is EXP's iBuyer platform. Phenomenal platform because it helps agents looking for deals to get help with doing more deals with investors. It's an investor platform. There's 3 ways to make money on express offers. Through investor transactions with buys and lists, or buyer agency and listing with investors properties through this platform. Again, it's another kind of a deeper dive conversation. There's a passive income component to where if you happen to refer investors that qualify to be on the platform, there's a way for you to make a passive income on a per transaction basis from all the investor deals that they do through express offers. I know people that are making an extra $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year in just passive income chunks coming from this platform. So again, another kind of a deeper dive conversation. I'm only going to hit the 10,000 foot level of it, but just know that there's 3 ways to make money from just express offers. We have a home warranty partner called America's Preferred Home Warranty. For every home warranty that gets sold through our channel, APHW, America's Preferred Home Warranty, pays about $50 back to EXP to the agent for every home warranty that goes through. Moving Hub. This is like your all-in-one transfer, everything from phone to security systems, to utilities, to insurance for the home, everything you can imagine that a buyer goes through when they buy a property, have to make all these changes. You can connect them to Moving Hub for free, and they will basically help them handle every aspect of that move. And then and it's free for the buyer to connect to do it. But all the vendors that they connect to pay up to 15% referral fee back to EXP to the agent that referred the buyer. So I know agents that are making an extra $250 to $500, $600 in referral fee from Moving Hub for connecting their buyers to this platform. It's a whole other income stream just for every client you work with. Build a Sign. We have a great signage company to help us with everything we want to create and design for signs. We have EXP Tours 360. It's an awesome partner. Kind of like a Matterport camera, but in a better situation, better technology, in my opinion. We'll talk about that later. Currencies direct. We have a way to make, think about this for a second. Anybody on here, if they've ever worked with a foreign buyer, so somebody in another country wanting to buy U.S. real estate, they've got to convert their money into U.S. dollars first. So now they have to go through an exchange. Typically, that's through a bank. Banks charge significant exchange costs to get their money to U.S. currency. So here's what's cool about Currencies Direct at EXP. They have now negotiated the cheapest fee in the United States to convert money into U.S. dollar. Every time a foreign buyer goes through our exchange, if it's referred by an agent, that agent gets a percentage of that exchange fee. So if you're converting $300,000, for example, the agent's going to get about $600 in exchange fee. If they're converting $1 million, maybe doing something in an investment deal or more than that. If they're converting $1 million, you're making basically about $2,000 on just the exchange fee. And then you go buy your property and get paid your commission on top of the deal you just helped them buy. So you're getting foreign currency exchange fee plus the commission to buy the property if it's a foreign buyer. Pretty cool process they put together. Basically looked at every way that the agents are having to connect people to other preferred partners, and how can EXP and the agent monetize that to develop additional streams of income. CE Shop, we got a great continuing education partner to help with CEs or helping people get licensed at a discount online, typically between 35–40% discount on the class online. Everyone's been talking about us. There's so many different articles coming out about EXP, from Inman to Real Estate Trends has now dubbed us the Amazon of real estate. We've got a lot of cheerleaders out there following us, paying attention to our model. We used to get, people used to say, well, their model's not sustainable. They're paying out too much to their agents. How are they going to do it virtual? That just sounds like a, something that's just kind of set up to fail. Well, it's interesting how much we've grown and how we've done in production, because in 2019, Real Estate Trends 500 now recognized EXP as the top independent in 2019 in closed sides transactions. Number 2 in movers and volume from 2018 to 2019. Number 1 in top movers and transactions increased sides from 2018 to 2019. So guys, this is no longer a theory. This is no longer just a conversation topic. That's something people don't think is going to work. We've got some of the biggest producing agents in the country that have all now come to EXP. We now have, I think, the top number 1, 2 teams or individual agents in 32 of the 50 states in the United States. And so a lot of the leaders and highest producers are coming over, and it's starting to get attention. People are asking questions. Why did they go to EXP? What is going on over there? What's happening? And so rather than hear it from the 30th person that transformed the story, make sure you're getting your facts right. And that's why we did tonight's meeting, to really go through and do a deep dive on what's really happening with this model, why agents are attracted to it, why they're considering coming over here. It took me a year to actually open in my mind to take a serious look at this. And when I did, I was shocked. I was kicking myself I didn't switch a year before. But, timing wasn't right for me. That's okay. I was one of those guys that said, talk to the hand. I'm not interested. But after I took a look at this, it blew my mind. I'm making now more in passive income from this model, actually about 3 times more than I do in my entire rental portfolio combined. And I have no loans, no interest I'm paying on those loans, no insurance I'm paying on the property, no tenants doing damage, and I'm making 3 times more now passively than I do from my entire rental portfolio. And I've got a nice portfolio. Most people would be kind of glad to have a property portfolio like I've got, bringing it. These are Class B, Class A properties doing really well. But my passive income from EXP in just 3 years has tripled that. So it's awesome because, I haven't sold a property since March. My business, I've taken a hit on a lot of people I was going to work with, put it on hold. Now I'm picking that back up this month. But you know what? I made so much in passive income through this to help sustain me when I couldn't sell a property, that it's more than covered my bills. So most brokerages can't say that, because you're either making money when you sell a property, making money when you buy a property, making money when you refer a property. It stops after that. EXP is completely different. It's about the agent, for the agent, completely everything about the future of that agent, and even into retirement. And so that's why I'm so excited about this and share this with you, because it's bigger than just real estate sales. Even though that's what we are, we're real estate brokerage first. You can see our numbers right here. We're killing it in independent firm out there. And it's only getting bigger. We're projected to be about 45,000 agents by the end of this year. We're basically been doubling in agent count every year. And it's not just bringing on new agents. We're bringing on some of the biggest producers. If you want to check out something really cool, go to a website called life.exprealty.com. If somebody can type that in the chat box, I'd appreciate it. Or if you want to copy the link from a browser, it's life, L-I-F as in Frank, E, life.exprealty.com. And go check out who's moved over from where they were at previously and read their story. There's a short video there. Check out, listen to, read why they came here. It's mind-blowing. We've got some of the biggest producers in the country over here now at EXP, and they're training here. They're collaborating. They're sharing secret sauce. They weren't doing that where they were at previously. So I see that as a really big deal for at least learn about why they came. That's pretty much all I have for tonight. I'm at a place where I know it's kind of gone a little bit long, but I wanted to make sure we had the bases covered. If anybody has any questions, feel free. I see that there's 8. Oh, I just realized there's 8 different comments in the chat. What did I miss? Anything good? Okay, we got the cloud, got model explained. If you want to see a quick recap of what I covered tonight in about 9 minutes, go to a website called agentpassiveincome.com. That's a really good site for just a quick 9-minute recap of what we talked about. agentpassiveincome.com. That will give you a quick review of everything if you want to check it out and just follow up later. That's all I've got. If you want to meet my friend Brent Gove out of Sacramento, he has done a video called The Model Explained. It's .com. It's in the chat from Dan earlier. If you guys, those are some great videos to check out. Anybody you've talked to about this, whoever mentioned tonight's meeting to you, get back with them, ask questions. If you guys want to set up a 3-way call with me later just to do a deeper dive in your situation, happy to do that. Guys, this is not a pressure deal to try to get somebody sucked in to come to EXP. I was that guy. It's like, if I didn't like this, I wasn't coming. I came here because I saw something that was a major difference that I could change my financial future with my family forever. And I've been doing it 3 years now, and I can tell you with the amount of stock that I built up in just 3 years, plus my passive income, 300% commissions plus, who can say they've done that at their brokerage? If you're making 100%, that's great, but what happens when you stop selling real estate? What do you got? You're done. You stop making income. I keep making income whether if I'm selling or not. It keeps coming, it keeps coming, it keeps coming. So that's all I've got tonight. If anybody's got questions, I'll be happy to stick around. Let me know and go from there. Does anybody want to mute and share? Anybody want to share a story? Let's see who we got. Your time, guys. If you want to unmute and ask a question, feel free. I'm happy to address it now, or if you want to talk offline later, we can do that too.
Hey, Chris, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Hey, it's Laquetta.
Hey, Laquetta.
Hey. So I just want to make sure I understand the revenue share. For some reason, I thought as we recruit agents and they cap, we make money, but it sounds like they don't have to cap for the recruiting agent to actually get a portion of their revenue share.
Absolutely. You got it.
You mentioned half cap.
Yep. That's just it. What's really cool, I'll just kind of share a hypothetical. Well, actually, what really happened to me in 2017, the largest profit share ever got paid from Keller Williams was $225. I referred a lot of people. They did a lot of transactions. And $225 was the most I ever got paid from profit share. When I joined in 2017, I referred one person, and that person did 2 transactions in October. So they closed on 2 deals in October. I got paid my first ever revenue share payment in November. And that amount was, I'll tell you the amount just because it was one transaction or one person, 2 transactions. I got paid $545 from that revenue share with one person, 2 transactions compared to a lot of people, a lot of deals for only $225 in profit share. That's when I was like, oh my gosh, what happens if I referred another friend and they sold something? So that's when I started to get revenue share. So just to answer your question, you get paid per transaction up to the cap.
Got it.
So once they cap, they're 100%. So then there's no more revenue share to share after they hit their cap because you're getting 100%, right? Well, when their cap resets the next year, so on their anniversary date, so if June 1st was somebody's anniversary date, let's say they capped by December, well, now they're making 100% from January through May, 100% commission during that time frame. And then their cap resets back to 80-20 on June 1st. So every year their cap resets, they go back to 80-20. Now, if they cap in 3 months, 9 months of 100%. So if you're the person that sponsored them and they capped in 3 months, you're getting paid that $2,800 over that 3-month period. And then after that, it's 0 until their cap resets the next year and they're selling more real estate. So that's just kind of in a nutshell how it works. If it takes them 10 months to cap, well, you're getting paid that 2,800 spread over those 10 months. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thanks. I just when I first heard about it, I thought maybe there was a minimum quota, but I'm really pleased to hear that. Nope, just production in general. Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's based on total production. And EXP says, hey, we're only going to live off 50% of what we make. All the agents that help build this company, we're going to give that 50% back to you to help you as owner revenue share. So that's the high level there. Anybody else have any questions? Happy to talk. Please don't be shy.
I have a question.
Absolutely. Go for it.
So as an agent lists a home, or you get a listing, whatever. I know that you have the $40 a month. You have the $40 with a cap of $500 for E&O insurance. You have the $25 for administrative fees. What other fees are attached to typical listings?
To the listing, so your 80-20 split, and then so you're going to get 80% of your commission at closing, and then out of your commission letter, they're going to subtract a $25 broker review fee, $40 E&O, and then you net what's after that. So in terms of the actual cost for EXP, that's it until you hit your cap. Then you go to 100%, and then roughly the E&O up to 500, that's selling about roughly 12 to 13 houses a year. So anything after that, E&O is covered 100% by EXP for the rest of your cap year.
And you're fully covered by E&O even if you don't sell 12 to 14 houses a year?
Well, your E&O per transaction is covered, right? So $40 out of that transaction is going to be your insurance policy on that transaction, okay?
And you're fully covered for that?
Yeah, well,
transaction.
The way it works in the real estate world, most brokerages will cover, let's say worst case, if there's maybe you're helping a buyer, they purchased a property from the seller did that naughty thing where they didn't fully disclose everything on their seller's disclosure, and they basically knew it and covered it up, right? So now your buyer's really upset. They're talking to an attorney because it's such a big expense to deal with. And so now they're like, well, the only way we're going to recoup the cost to fix this is we're going to have to sue the seller. But not only sue the seller, who has the most money out there? It's typically the real estate brokerage, right? So we're going to sue the seller's real estate brokerage. Oh, and then we're also going to include the agent in that lawsuit for the listing agent. But then if the attorney kind of says, hey, you also might want to sell the buyer agent and the buyer's brokerage because they should have known. They should have had my back on this. The lawyers get too happy. And so now you've got both brokerages in a lawsuit, you've got both agents in a lawsuit, and now they have to engage their E&O policy for that protection on that transaction. So the normal deductible for a total deductible on an insurance claim with E&O is $25,000. The brokerage picks up on average 90% of that, and the agent has to pick up the other 10%. So it's about a $2,500 deductible that the agent has to pay towards that transaction for the getting the lawyers involved and protecting them during the lawsuit. Here's what's interesting about EXP, because this was exactly how it was when I was at Keller Williams. I had to pay a $2,500 deductible if there was ever a lawsuit and I had to engage my E&O. That's normal. At EXP, it's the same thing. It's normal. But remember that home warranty company I brought up earlier about America's Preferred Home Warranty? Let's say that buyer, what if I offered them to, hey, you might want to get a home warranty on this property just in case something goes wrong in the next year, right? That's a pretty standard conversation. Well, what's unique about our plan with America's Preferred Home Warranty, there's a waiver they can sign. So let's say if the buyer says, no, I don't want to get one. I'm sure it's fine. I'm not going to worry about it. It's just wasted money. Some buyers think it's wasted money. So they don't get it. But at least at EXP, I had them sign the waiver saying I offered them the home warranty. They declined it, so I got their signature and a date. End of conversation. Because I offered the home warranty, America's Preferred Home Warranty says, as long as you offered the plan to them, if they bought it, that's great, but as long as you offered it to them, declined it, that's fine. As long as you get the waiver signed, we're going to have your back with anything that happens with an E&O in that issue. So this is what this means. So America's Preferred Home Warranty, let's fast forward back to that deal. Let's say now your buyer's upset, they sue everybody, now there's a lawsuit, you've got to engage the E&O policy to protect you on that transaction, and you've got to come up with $2,500 out of your pocket to pay your portion of the deductible. Well, America's Preferred Home Warranty says, hey, if you offered them a home warranty through our plan, but they declined it, then if you're in that situation where you've got to engage your E&O, America's Preferred Home Warranty is going to cover your $2,500 deductible. So now you're 100% covered from EXP and 90% covered from EXP and 10% from APHW. So your entire deductible is covered 100%, not coming out of your pocket. That did not happen when I was at Keller. Now, I don't know if another brokerage is doing anything like that. I'm not going to say they are or they're not. But the fact that EXP's got that in place with APHW, I thought was pretty cool. So if I'm ever at risk for a lawsuit and E&O has to be engaged, then they're going to have my back as long as I got that waiver signed. It takes, what, 2 seconds to get them to sign it and move on to all the rest of the paperwork. It's just a part of my average buyer consult, portfolio. All the paperwork we go through, and just a standard listing or a standard buyer agency. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. So there is no other little surprise fee that comes out of my commission during a sale or a listing.
Nope, that's it.
So it's like less than $100.
You got it.
And there's nothing.
I can go back and pull up that slide to make sure, but everything on that slide was what I talked about. So 80-20 split, you've got your $85 a month to EXP, that's separate, but out of the transaction, 20% split to EXP pre-cap, 25 broker review fee, $40 E&O, that's it. And I participate with that 5% stock plan. So out of my net, they take 5% out of that, and I get stock at a 10% discount. I always recommend it because that's free money.
Hey, Chris, there's also a $250 transaction fee.
Okay, that's what I was talking about pre-cap. So once you cap, then there's a $250 transaction fee for the next 20 transactions. And after the 21st on, it's a $75 transaction fee. Yes, we covered that when we did the fees, but hopefully you remember that, or if not, I can go back and pull up that slide and show you.
Oh, I did not remember. So $250 transaction fee. So that would be like the equivalent of the what do you call it? Franchise fee that a lot of brokerages charge.
It's after you go to 100%.
That
Oh, after you go to 100%.
Yeah.
right. You have
before.
to cap first at 6.
Oh.
Yeah.
You have to pay for the 16,000 first, and then you get your $250 fee.
Okay, what is that fee for?
That is a transaction fee that EXP charges because they're still want to make some money on the transaction. I normally charge a $350 transaction fee to my clients, and that more than makes up for my difference of my $250 transaction fee. But that's only after you hit your cap.
Gotcha.
So there's no transaction fee during the 80-20 capping process of your year.
Okay, thank you.
And then, you're welcome. And then once you've hit 12 or 13 houses, the $40 goes away. Then you just have the $25 broker review fee.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Absolutely. And what's kind of cool is just with some of the income stream that I've added to this, just within my own sales, it's like EXP is more than paying me back for any fee that I have. So if you need any help or support or questions about any of those other strategies later, happy to have a conversation about what I've done to offset that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Sure thing. Any other questions? Again, this is your guys' time. Happy to keep going if you're up for it, or happy to call in a night too, whichever you guys want to do. I got to see some more questions out here. Thank you. Thank you. 3 personal sales. Oh, thank you, Carmelita. Great point. So if you're an investor or an investor that's thinking about getting their license, this is a pretty cool opportunity as well, because I'm an investor. I'm always doing fix and flips and whatnot and new construction. So I can either on my own personal house or investment properties that I have, I can take up to 3 transactions per year and waive my commission on those. And so that way I can keep that money in my deal. And the only thing I have to pay on a property that I'm going to waive my commission on is I still have to pay the $250 transaction fee, $25 broker review fee, and $40 E&O. So on a property I'm going to waive commission, I'm only paying $315 to have it listed on the MLS through my license. Great point, Carmelita. Thanks for bringing that up. When I was at Keller, I could do 2, but one of those had to be a buy, one of those had to be a sell. And at EXP, it's 3 total transactions. It could be 3 buys or 3 sells, however you want to break it up, or a combination of the 2. You're welcome, Esther. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Thanks, Randy. Appreciate it, Karen. Let's see. Thank you, Lisa. And
Chris,
let's see.
question.
Go for it. Hi, Claudia.
How are you? So when you were saying, you know, when you're selling your own, you know, your own investment, you know, like I have my own investment. So you say you only can do it 3 times a year, or only 3 times total for the, you know, I don't know.
Well, you can sell as many as you want, but there's 3 properties they're yours, whether if it's personal residence that you're selling or buying, or any of your investment deals that you're selling or buying. You can waive up to 3 total transactions per year, waive the commission.
Okay, per year. Okay, thank you. Yes, and
Per year.
okay,
Yeah.
per year. Thank you so much.
Very investor-friendly environment. Who else? Who else has a question? It's not a bad question. Or if you're shy, that's totally fine too. I'm not used to seeing agents shy, just they're pretty vocal. But if you have any questions, feel free to address them here. Or again, my number, as you look at my name, I have my cell phone number on here. 816-924-9386 is my cell. If you have a question, want to talk offline, either get back to the person that invited you to tonight, or if you guys want to set up a call with me, happy to do that as well. Again, my goal tonight is just to share information about EXP. We're not the cheapest brokerage out there. We're definitely not the most expensive. I would say we're probably in the lower third, but I've never seen of any of those companies out there offer what they're doing in terms of all the additional income streams to offset even your real estate sales, so that you can diversify your income, set up multiple streams, most of it passive, and it just grows organically on autopilot while you're building your business and sales. So it's pretty cool, pretty cool. And especially if you hit Icon, you're earning your entire cap back. You know, you're basically spending about $6,000 a year. You get your cap back, the stock increases, and you more than 100% commission. So that's kind of how I had to look at it and break it down. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm not hearing any more questions. It looks like somebody unmuted. Randy, you have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, are we able to get a recording of this and share it with other potential EXP agents?
I'm happy to.
Great.
Yep, I did record it tonight. So you're welcome to do that. Now, I will say, because I went long, this was a longer meeting. The other videos that we mentioned in this chat, if they haven't seen this model, my recommendation, you don't have to follow it, but my recommendation would be to either share one of those 2 videos with them, and then if you want to do a live meeting with me where I go through it live for you, I'm happy to do that as well. So everybody that's on my revenue share team, consider me a partner. I'm here to help you in every way I can. So, hey, Rich, thanks for joining, buddy. Actually, I get to call you Sharon since Sharon's on your name tonight. You kind of look like Sharon tonight. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. My bad. Sorry, brother. We'll talk later. It's good to see you, man. But no, I like to normally share those short videos first, just because some people may not take, an hour and a half to listen to this on their first run through. But no, I'm happy to do that. I'm just from, as I've been building this, I've found that just sharing a short video with somebody, if they're interested after that, set up a live meeting with me. I'll do it live for you. Any other questions? Going once, going twice.
Ashley had asked about the video names and locations. I think they're in the group chat. Scrolling up a little, I think the links are in there.
Yeah, here, I'll just repaste them here just for 1 second. Give me just a minute and I'll get them back on here for you. So we got I'll copy the full link. So all you have to do is just copy and paste it. And we'll go that route. That way it's simple for you. Here's my favorite one. Brent Gove is my favorite speaker. This guy has got more passion and energy than anybody ever met. He's a fire plug. He's doing extremely well in this model. He's a great leader, great trainer. I've never seen anybody give like he does. In fact, you can even go to a website called BrentGoveResources.com, and everything he has on there about how to build his entire real estate business is out there on the website. Again, there's no secrets in keeping our secret sauce a secret. It's everybody's got access to it because we want everybody to succeed. Go to BrentGoveResources.com. You will love what Brent's got out there on his website. One more second, I will pull up the other link real quick and put that out there. Okay. All right, there's the two links. The mottoexplain.com is one, and another one is agentpassiveincome.com. Much shorter than my conversation tonight, but there's a lot to the story about EXP. We're not just your average brokerage. Completely something different in this industry, for the most part, is never seen before. So, lot to the story. All right. Well, guys, it's we're pushing almost 8 o'clock my time, but going for just under 2 hours. Normally I like to get this done a little bit sooner, but I think I just kind of got on a tangent and had to run. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, again, my number's out here. Links are here to check out for some follow-up. If you want to talk later, again, this is all confidential. This has nothing to do with anybody. No one's going to go back and talk to your broker if you're with a different company. This is all confidential between us. Just if you want to explore and just talk more about what this could mean in your business plan, that's what we're here for. So, all right, guys. Well, hey, have a great night. I'm not seeing any other questions coming through, so I'm going to assume we're good for now. We'll be doing some other training, some things coming up over the next couple of months. Again, if you want to check out our training environment just to see what some of these really cool classes are like, go to expcloud.com, get with the person that referred you here tonight, have them set up a temporary pass for you to get into our EXP world, and go give it a test run. Go check it out. It's pretty fun. All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for joining tonight, and I look forward to hopefully meeting you in the future. Take care.